time for Cisco Live.
And we are here to accelerate,
to amplify,
to inspire,
and to showcase cutting-edge solutions,
new innovations,
so that you can
go beyond. Hi, everyone. I'm Steve.
And I'm Rob.
I'm Cedric.
And I am.
And she is Alpa.
I'm the new Cisco Live host this year. Welcome to Cisco Live 2025 Amsterdam.
This year is extra special. We are celebrating 40 years of Cisco innovation, 4 decades of shaping the way the world connects and works and thrives.
From the very first multi-protocol router in 1986 to today's AI-powered networking, security, and collaboration, Cisco has always been at the forefront of technology.
Now we're taking you beyond expectations, beyond possibilities, and beyond what's next.
And did we mention AI?
This is where technology meets reality, with hundreds of industry-leading demos where you can experience all of the latest in networking, in security, in automation, and all hands-on.
Did you tell them about the AI?
Artificial intelligence is changing everything, from self-healing networks to AI-driven IT operations. Explore the AI Hub and see how Cisco is leading the way.
Security has never been more critical. Meet Cisco Hypershield, the AI-powered defense system offering to protect, predict, and prevent cyber threats like never before.
For developers, automation pros, and tech builders, the DevNet Zone is where you take control. Get hands-on with the latest APIs, programmability, and automation solutions that are shaping the future of IT.
40 years ago, Cisco pioneered network technology, and today we're pushing the boundaries of AI, cloud, security for the next generation of 40 years.
And what better way to explore the future than through our amazing keynote and center stage sessions?
Well, this year you're going to hear directly from Cisco's top executives as well as industry leaders about how we shape the next generation of innovation and AI.
Cisco Live is more than just tech. It's about connections. Meet industry leaders, Cisco engineers, and your fellow innovators.
Level up your expertise with our walk-in labs, technical sessions, certifications, all tailored for your expert level.
And of course, it wouldn't be Cisco Live without the amazing connections that make this community so special.
Whether you're here with us in person or joining us online, this is your chance to engage, share ideas, and be a part of the future of technology.
And you know what's really the future of technology?
Hey, Rob, I'll bet it's AI. AI, right?
Whether you're tuning in for the first time or the 10th, Cisco Live is where you go beyond. Beyond learning, beyond networking, and beyond what's possible.
So, follow the action, share your experience, and be part of the future.
Join the conversation. We're at hashtag Cisco Live EMEA, or follow us online at Cisco Live EMEA.
Welcome to Cisco Live 2025 Amsterdam.
Let's go beyond.
And there you have it. Let's go beyond. Welcome, everyone. We are so glad to have you this year with us on the live broadcast from Cisco Live 2025 Amsterdam, bringing the power and the excitement of every single moment here at the RAI directly to you every single day and every single moment of this event. As you just saw there in that opening video, you have got 4 broadcast hosts. I'm one of them. I'm Steve Moulter, and I'm going to be meeting you right here in the Cisco TV broadcast studio before and after each of the keynotes, which is going to kick off just 30 minutes from now, and then before and after each one of our fantastic center stage sessions with executives and thought leaders and partners and customers. Again, bringing you all of the latest and greatest in AI, as you just heard from Rob Boyd, and all of the other great technologies that are driving us toward the future here in this exciting AI era. It all kicks off at 9:30 a.m. Central European time. We'll bring you every moment of the keynote right here on the live stream. We want to hear from all of you as well. As Alpa just said in that opening video, reach out to us using hashtag Cisco Live EMEA and at Cisco Live EMEA. Our social media team is waiting for all of your comments, all your photos, all of your videos. Be a part of the future. Be a part of the action by staying in touch with us on social media. As we also said in the video, It is extra special this year. We are celebrating 40 years of innovation here at Cisco. We will talk so much about that throughout the week. As we head into the keynote, I want to bring in one of your other hosts here on set with me. Good morning, Cedric DeValder.
Good morning, Steve. It's good to see you again after 1 year.
It's hard to believe that it's actually already been 1 year. Well, we did see each other at Impact at GSX while we were out in Las Vegas, but I don't know. This is
something different.
This is something different. This is so entirely special. A few moments ago, I mentioned 40 years of Cisco innovation, and if you think about it, 4 decades ago, computers didn't even really communicate with one another, right? Today, the network is connecting everything. It's shaping our world. So in the first 40 years, if you think about what we did, we built that foundation, right? We forged that universal language of connection, machines that were isolated at one particular point. Now, what do? If they're connected, they're protected, as we say, across our global central nervous system. What have you seen walking around that's been exciting that really brings that 40 years together?
Well, so we actually have an innovation booth, like 40 years of Cisco innovation, where we talk a little bit through history of Cisco. I did a quick calculation myself. 40 years ago, it was minus 13. Just saying, just putting that out there. But no,
it's changed a bit, right?
Yeah, it changed a bit at a rapid pace, right? No, it's really great to visit that here at the conference. We'll bring it to you as well live on the broadcast, like a little bit of the history of Cisco, like what has happened. But like being here today, right now, like we're going to hear so much about AI, Steve, right? AI is going to be at the center stage. AI is really transforming how we work, how we secure stuff, how we connect. And we're going to not I would say, I don't know how to say it actually, Steve, we're going to go beyond, right? And
I've heard that somewhere before. Is it out here on the front, the go beyond? What is go beyond? I mean, when we say go beyond, right? So last year we had Let's Go.
Let's Go.
This year we've got go beyond. What does go beyond mean to you?
I think last year with Let's Go, we pushed the boundaries, right? Now we're just going to break it. Right, we're going to bring new amazing technologies. We have the keynote later on, which is going to bring our executives on stage to talk about the latest and greatest innovation. We have the world of solutions that we're going to explore together with you at home, like where we can meet our experts, where we can see some of our partners in action. We can really see a lot of things happening. I don't want to not give too much away yet, so I'm going to give it back to you, Steve.
We've got some excitement, including some great announcements. We'll talk about those as well. So now you've met 2 of our hosts. Let's meet the other 2. We're going to head out to the keynote space where things are starting to ramp up. Our own amazing Rob Boyd, as always, is here with us, and we have our newest host, the delightful, the amazing Alpa Tankare. Hello, friends.
Hello, Steve. Cedric, so good to hear you. Alpa, how you feeling?
I'm so excited, Rob. I mean, look at this vibe. It's amazing. The music.
I would never know that you hadn't done this before. You walk with an air of confidence. You're bright, you pop. And I'm like, I'm so dull compared to her, Steve. But listen, we're having so much fun in here. As you would expect, people are starting to flow in. We are about, 20 minutes. We keep having to adjust volume on our comms because it's getting louder and louder in here, which personally I like. At some point though, Steve, I'm going to be able to say, I really couldn't hear you, so forgive me.
What are you looking forward to the most, Rob?
Anyway, we're going to be getting some different interviews here, and then we'll come back to you guys shortly.
Thank you so much, Rob. Alpa, you can hear, again, if you're listening in on the broadcast, it's already starting to get very loud out there. They're not going to be able to hear anything, as Rob said a moment ago. But the beauty of having Alpa and Rob out there in the keynote spaces, they're going to be able to bring us some interviews with some of the change makers and the pacemakers and the people who are bringing us these new technologies and releases. They become our eyes on the inside. Even the folks who are here in Amsterdam don't get the benefit of hearing from them like all of you do. So, Cedric, we're about, what is it, according to my clock, I don't know, we're 21 minutes-ish away from keynote. You can tell my eyes are bad. I can't even see my own clock down there. But Oliver Tuzik, Jito Patel, Tom Gillis, Kamahati, Anurag Dhingra, they're going to welcome in some amazing people. We've got Cisco partners coming in the door, customers, special guests to look at all of the latest and the greatest ways that Cisco is out there revolutionizing infrastructure, the way that we're changing data. The idea is, how do we connect and protect everybody who's watching, all the people here at the show, their organizations? This is an intimidating and overwhelming but really impressive AI era, right? This keynote means that everybody watching the broadcast, everybody here at the show in Amsterdam will be the very first to hear some great new launches, right?
Yeah, I think, and what's really exciting about Cisco, Steve, I think, is we're it's a full stack. Right? Like, we have our data centers that are AI ready. We have networking that we put an AI layer AI layer on top of it to make it secure. So like we have so many products that we can learn about this week. And something I'm really excited to hear more about is Cisco AI Defense. A couple of weeks ago in Palo Alto, California, we had one of our events going on, like the Cisco AI Summit. And like a lot of Fortune 100 leaders were there to listen to Chuck and our executive leadership team on the latest and greatest innovations there. So I'm looking forward for that session in the center stage. I even know that somebody rebooked their, or like rescheduled their flight. They could only attend the morning, but they were like, no, I want to hear all of this right now. And I'm just gonna rebook it, and like I'm gonna go away a day later from that summit. So I'm really excited that like we're here and like we can learn all about that as well.
And that's the whole point of being here in the room, is you get to be the first to understand what's going on, and also you get the access to the people who are building these capabilities, the technologists, the designers, the developers, the creators, the minds who are coming up with not only what we're supposed to build, but also how do we future-proof. And the way that we get there is we listen to, we talk to people. I always like to say that Cisco is the farthest thing from an island. We can create on our own. We've got incredibly brilliant minds. It's those partnerships that allow us to get where we need to go. We have to listen to what the customer is saying, and then we have to listen to our partners, and they help us to drive that technology.
And that's such an integral part of being here live on the show floor, really being able to have that human interaction, to meet with our engineers. Like we're here just next to the meeting village where a lot of meetings are taking place, where you can like walk into an engineer on the other side, and next to the World of Solutions we have like our walk-in labs. Like I already visited the Capture the Flag booth yesterday. So like there's a lot of opportunity to meet like friends, colleagues, but also Cisco experts, and really understand like how Cisco can bring that kind of AI, that future AI, into your organization, help you transform. And I think it's just the place to be. And if you're not here live, then we will help you cover that.
Exactly. But get here live, really, is what it's all about, vision.
Yep.
It's just vision toward the future. Speaking of vision, I'm looking up here into my camera, and I see Rob Boyd, who I believe is with one of our Cisco champions out in the keynote space. Right, Rob?
I am, Steve, and actually I'm here on a hunt. I'm hunt to uncover information. There's a tradition at Cisco that some would say is not well enough established. I'm going to give you a hint at what it might be here. But basically, I've got one of the gentlemen in this photo, whose name I'm not very good at pronouncing, and I'm very nervous about trying to do it. But let's introduce you. Tell us who you are, who you work for, and what you're most excited about now.
Well, my name is Sibren Beukenkamp. I work for Three Corners. I'm owning Three Corners. And our main focus is Cisco collaboration and WebEx portfolio, based in the Netherlands. And I'm so glad to be here as well.
Well, let me ask you about this picture here. I'm going to hold it up while they do it, but tell us about Kilted Mondays.
Kilted Monday. Okay, that's a good question. Kilted Monday started 10 years ago at Cisco Live, actually. Kind of a spin-off with a few guys, emphasizing inclusivity. Wearing a kilt is just promoting inclusivity for any gender, whoever you are, and wherever you come from. So that's the initial idea, to kind of emphasize that. And the other one is, it's fun. It's really fun. It's really fun. So you're like-minded, you have the connection, you're growing your network. So that's very cool to do.
I was always intrigued by it because I never want to pass up a chance to get a new outfit, you know, wear something funny, and not funny, I don't mean it that way, but wear something that maybe forces me to be a little bit more vulnerable, you know, show some leg.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You're way out of your comfort zone, for sure.
Well, tell me about, from a content and really technology perspective, you guys specialize in WebEx collaboration technologies. What do you think is most important to understand about where we're going with those technologies as we now really open it up wide for the year?
Well, the main thing we are trying to emphasize is make it cross-platform. So it's not just WebEx. We would like to have the ability to enable everyone to communicate to each other, and so we are really focusing and strengthening the cross-platform approach of WebEx.
Excellent. I want to thank you for your time. We're going to have to cut back over to the studio, guys. I'm going to find some more Cisco champions if we have time for that. But either way, this is a lot of fun, guys. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it. And by the way, the fact that you don't own a kilt, I find actually a little baffling at this particular point. I mean, you're a biker. You need the kilt.
First, it was too small, and it wouldn't go around me. And then I lost a little bit more weight, and now it's too big. So I'm still working it out. I got to get the right socks too. I realize I don't know how many rules I'm breaking, and I need to.
You're not breaking any rules. So that's the fun part. Okay. Just wearing a kilt, whatever shoes or whatever you do, it's whatever suits you.
That's my kind of fashion. Yeah. All right, back to you guys.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Next Cisco Live, I'm bringing you a kilt. I'm bringing you a sporin bag. We're going to get you all set up. You're going to be good to go. We are 15 minutes out from the opening keynote. So glad to have you with us here on the broadcast. Stay with us for every moment of excitement here at the show. By the way, Cisco Champions, we're going to keep talking to them. For those of you that don't know what the Champion program is all about, these are not Cisco people. These are not Cisco employees. These are the folks who believe in Cisco, who are invested deeply in Cisco, who partner with us. I always say, Cedric, that we can talk Cisco all day long. The way we really learn what Cisco is and does is by going out and speaking to the people who are using Cisco in the trenches every single day, what they're able to achieve on behalf of their customers and their customer's customer, thanks to their partnership with Cisco. And that's, I think, why the Champion program is so valuable.
No, it's really valuable. And I just want to add one thing to Rob. Like, I could talk all day about kilts. My other half is Scottish, so I'll give him like, I'll gift him a kilt. But basically, yeah, the Champions are such a big part of our community at Cisco, and we really appreciate them. And I think you can see that it goes through also with our customers, right? Like, we have our Cisco Insider stands and booths. We like to get our customers on stage as well, because who is better, besides you, Steve, telling Cisco's story than actually our customers, right? Really seeing how their businesses are being transformed by bringing our technology into their actual business, seeing the results and sharing that with others. And talking about sharing, what I also like is that we have our purpose pavilion here at Cisco Live, right? Because I really resonated with the Cisco Champion on screen just a second ago. Like, connecting and really doing good for the community is also such a big part of Cisco's DNA. So I'm also looking forward to kind of checking it out later. Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to talk a bit more about that in a moment, but right now I see that Alpa is out on the show floor and has found a friend. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Steve and Cedric. I have indeed. It's so exciting being here, and I'm really delighted to have found Rodney Clark. Hi, Rodney.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. So you are our SVP of Partnerships and Small and Medium Business. How are you finding Cisco Live so far?
I always love Cisco Live. This is my second time here, Cisco Live EMEA. And yesterday we kicked off our event with over 1,000 partners, talking to them about the technology that we're going to hear and see about in just a few minutes, and also our new partner program. So it was a really great way to get started with Cisco Live and get excited about today's announcements.
Amazing, and our partners are so important in helping our attendees and our customers going beyond, right? Any tips or any advice for our customers ahead of the next few days to come, what they should look out for?
Well, I mean, we're excited. We've got announcements around our AI defense, which we announced, actually talked about a few weeks ago. We've got some Wi-Fi 7 announcements. There's so much here, but back to our business and the partners that are here. They're basically here to help customers experience all of Cisco. I always say that they are virtually Cisco. They are extended part, and they are every part of our Cisco sales force, our technical support, our technical specialization. And so our partners are here to help our customers experience a better Cisco Live.
Amazing. And one thing that you're personally looking forward to this week?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Oliver. He's always full of surprises, and I know he gets super excited for all of his customers in EMEA. And then the excitement and energy that G2 is going to bring about the innovation that Cisco is bringing to market. Those are two things that I always get excited about.
Amazing, me too. So we're eagerly waiting for that all to start. And in the meantime, I'm handing over back to you, Steve and Cedric.
Thank you so much, Alpa, and to Rodney as well. About 1,000 people, 1,000 partners over at that meeting yesterday. Incredible. And we are going to hear from Oliver and G2 in about 11 minutes, according to the clock that I've got up here in the studio. Very excited about that. Stay with us. Cedric, I wanted to come back to a couple of things. First of all, a couple of statistics, right?
Yep.
So Rodney just says 1,000 partners here.
Yep.
17,000 people here at the event, which shows you the incredible growth of what's happened here at Cisco Live EMEA. But some more specific stats, 37%, more than a third of the people, it is their first Cisco Live. So for all of you who are watching here on the broadcast and thinking, well, do I go, do I not go? Be one of the 17,000, be one of the 37% next year that comes in, but 31% of the people here at the show, it's their third time or more here at Cisco Live. It's your third time. Yeah. I'll let you ask my number a little bit later. We'll go on with that. But 800 speakers, 1,300 plus conference sessions. You listen to what it is that has been put together by this team, what Bonnie Shapira and his team have put together for this incredible event, and you just think, boy, 40 years of Cisco, but to get to this stage where there's so much dedication and energy and excitement around the Cisco brand and what we're achieving, I think it's remarkable. And we were talking about it out in the showcase yesterday. Have you had a chance to walk the showcase in the McLaren area?
I did. Oh, I love that area.
Yeah.
I love it. So actually we have a race car on site. There is a security guard next to it. You can't touch it apparently. But I'm so looking forward to checking that out later. There are simulators. And then that's kind of just the partnership angle, but there's just so many great technology parts that you can explore. I saw that we have an AI hub where you can also see like where you stack on the actual rank in terms of like, are you a pioneer, are you a lagger? Would you say you're a pioneer or a lagger?
I'm all kinds of lagger. I've redefined the word lagger. Next to lagger in the dictionary is my picture.
I didn't know that dictionaries had pictures.
No, they absolutely do. Cedric, I'm going to break away from us in a moment because I think, did I hear that Alpha actually tracked down Cheryl Lynch out there in the keynote space?
Oh yes, I have. There's so many amazing people out here, and talking about amazing people. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, nice to see you.
You too. Tell us all about what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Cheryl Lynch. I am a Senior Director at Cisco IT, and I lead our Agile transformation. But this week, I am here at Cisco Live to host our IT leadership program. Really excited.
Amazing. Now, tell us all about the IT leadership program.
Yeah, it's a program designed by IT leaders for IT leaders. We have curated the best speakers from across Cisco. They're going to do presentations, they will do Q&A, they'll lead panels. We have our own theatre and a lounge for our guests to mingle and meet with other leaders, and an amazing guest speaker on Thursday.
Oh, sounds amazing. I want to join. So tell us, what can leaders expect when they join the program?
Yeah, so jam-packed 3 days, as I say, of speeches, of all sorts of things. But most importantly, they're going to get an opportunity to build their business acumen, to expand their technology expertise, but mostly forge connections with other leaders across the region.
It's so important and amazing opportunity for everybody to connect. Are there any kind of final tips that you'd like to give our viewers out there about our IT leadership program?
I think for me the most exciting thing is that we take all the things we see at Cisco Live and you come to the leadership program and hear technology leaders talking about it in the real world. It's amazing. Very excited.
Absolutely. And on that note of excitement, Steve, Cedric, we're coming back to you.
Thank you so much, Alpha, and to Cheryl as well. Great energy, great excitement around IT. Cedric, you had something you wanted to mention here?
Yeah, I think what's really cool about the IT leadership program, if you think about it, you're a business, right? You have like your tech builders, like your innovators, and you have your business leaders. Your business leaders can go to the IT leadership program. Your tech builders can come to the conference, walk the show floor, get nitty-gritty with the technical detail. Then you all fly home, you put the two together, and you have the perfect strategy to move forward.
I absolutely love that. Have you actually had a chance to work with Cheryl or talk with her on that?
No, I would love to meet her.
Well, you know what? On Thursday, maybe you can head over with Alpha, and both of you can be a part of that program in the afternoon. I just want to quickly mention again our social media hits. If you're out there watching on the broadcast, please reach out to us, to everybody here at the show, with your comments, your photos, your video. You can grab screenshots of what you're watching here on the live stream on your computer from home or from work or wherever you happen to be, using hashtag Cisco Live EMEA and hashtag and at Cisco Live. Hashtag, one hashtag. One is plenty. Hashtag Cisco Live EMEA, at Cisco Live EMEA, exactly. I got distracted because I'm looking out, and we can see it here on our cameras as well. It's getting incredibly crowded out there, and I can tell Rob is already shaking his head, trying to hear. He's fixing his hair. He's trying to figure out what it is that we're saying. Can you hear a word I'm saying out there, Rob?
I can hear you. I'm just pretending not to hear you. Steve, I've got you. You throwing to us yet or no?
Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
Right. Hey, I want you guys to introduce you. I want to introduce you to Malcolm. Malcolm is apparently the boss. He runs a company out of Scotland. Is that correct?
That is correct. Edinburgh, Scotland.
As if you couldn't tell where he might be from. But either way, I love that accent. But tell us more about what you guys do.
Yeah, so our company is called MNB Networks, and we're a Cisco partner. We help customers deliver different infrastructure projects across the Cisco portfolio, LAN, WAN, security, wireless, data center.
Well, you're telling me on the side that you guys are particularly focused on automation. And just a general question, because I feel like automation is one of those things that everyone I've worked with really aspires to, but we're only doing it in small areas and we're having trouble automating across domains, and there's a little bit of tension there to overcome, but I think there's big things to be had from that. Curious about your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what we try to automate where things make sense. You know, you're never going to be able to automate every part of your infrastructure. So the types of things that we'll do are we will interrogate the network, devices, systems, and bring data back to tools like Netbox, for example, and then visualize them in BI tools like Grafana and so on. So we're really more about you know, when we've got that data in a repository like Netbox, we then look at doing things like rendering configuration files and standardizing config templates and stuff like that. I mean, we don't go out and say we'll automate every configuration you ever need to push out to your network, but config standardization is a big area, and providing some business intelligence on what's really happening in the network.
It's yeoman's work, and it does require a lot of coordination back and forth. With that, Steve, I'm going to throw back to you guys in the studio.
Rob, keep it with you for a moment. Would you ask Scott if this is his first Cisco Live, or how many Cisco Lives he's been to?
Is this your first Cisco Live, or have you been to some before?
I've been to several before. Okay. NetVet this year, so good. And I've been to the US a couple of times as well, so yeah.
There you go. Really Congrats. You prepared to go beyond this year?
That's our tag. Oh, well, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Whatever that means.
And lots of AI and all that kind of thing as well.
Hey, well, they're ratcheting up the energy in here. You can kind of feel it, can't you? It got a little darker, the music got a little bit louder, breaking out some lasers, I think, here in just a minute, and there's a 3-minute clock. Steve, you ready to take it back over?
I'm going to take it back over. Thank you so much, Rob. Thanks again to Scott as well. 3.5 minutes out from the keynote-ish, something along that. Don't hold us too close to it, but we're watching the clock tick down, and as soon as Oliver and G2 are ready to take the stage, they will let us know. Cedric, let me come back to you. I mentioned a little bit earlier what's happening out in the world of solutions, specifically in the Cisco showcase, right, which is always my favorite spot here at the show, because it's the only opportunity we have to gather more than 100 of our tech demos, all of the cutting edge capabilities and how they all interrelate and connect to one another, put them all together so it's a combination of tech demos and interactive product zones and immersive experiences across networking and visibility and observability in Cisco IT and security and so on. But we talked briefly about McLaren and that remarkable partnership, and I think that circuit, the Cisco circuit, which is what we call it out there, is so remarkable because it ties together so much of how we're using AI today and how we're helping the McLaren team win races. What have you seen out there?
Real-time data, real-time security, connecting everything, right? We're really kind of giving them a competitive edge on and off the track. I think that's great. I don't really watch Formula 1 that much, but I got into it because of Cisco, actually. And it's just nice to know that we can change lives through the products that we make. That we can transform these businesses, they can do their best work afterwards, and it's just, I'm like, it makes me really proud to work at Cisco for that reason, Steve.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. As you said, it's all the things behind the scenes that everybody else doesn't get to see. How do we give businesses that edge? How do we keep them out there on the cutting front? It's incredible, and you can see it a lot over on the circuit. We're less than 2 minutes out from the keynote beginning, so Alpa, Rob, let's head out to you one last time for a last peek at what's happening there in your space.
Well, I wanted to get a vibe check, Steve, and say, Alpa, how does it feel now having done your first couple of executive interviews from the chaos that can be the show floor? You like it?
Absolutely amazing. Do you know what really strikes me is the absolute passion and energy from our leaders and from all of our attendees. You can just feel it, right, Rob?
Absolutely, and the energy is picking up here, Steve. They're in the last few minutes of the countdown. I'm assuming you're going to throw to the big picture and we'll take the big feed. Everybody will check back with you on the other side.
Really grateful to have you both out there. Fantastic job. Alpa, welcome to the team. You are amazing. You're doing a brilliant job. Your energy is infectious. The smile is great. We just appreciate everything that you're bringing here to the team. We are less than a minute from heading out to the stage. We're going to wait for that live cue, Cedric. I'm just going to set things up and then away we go. But good to be on set with you here. Truly appreciate it. All right, so as I said, moments away from the opening keynote here in Amsterdam. Go Beyond. That is the title. Oliver Tuzik, G2 Patel, a list of great executives, along with Cisco partners, Cisco customers, talking about all of the different ways that Cisco is revolutionizing the ways infrastructure and data are connecting and protecting organizations exactly like yours here in this exciting AI era. Remember, please keep reaching out to us throughout the keynote, hashtag Cisco Live EMEA, at Cisco Live EMEA. We want to hear from you. We are going to keep meeting you right back here in the studio. So following the keynote, we'll hit on some highlights. Cedric and I will be back to talk about what really stood out to us, what it is that really made us excited about what we heard live from the stage, and a lot of new announcements, new excitement. Part of the reason that you want to attend here at the event, or that you want to be with us here on the live stream, is to be the first to hear what is taking place, what is going on, not only at Cisco, but across the marketplace, across the industry. And when you're the first to hear it, it means that you can also be the first to leverage that particular piece of technology. We've got an extra couple of seconds before we roll live, but Cedric, I just want to very quickly ask you, what do you think is going to be the #1 topic and takeaway? Look into your crystal ball.
Sorry, I can't
AI.
stop laughing. It's going to be AI.
It's going to be AI, right?
It has to be AI. Otherwise, all of my text for this week is already
completely trashed and away. Well, again, Rob said it there in the opening video. AI is what it is all about. We've been given the note that it's about 30 seconds. They're just closing the main doors right now. But it's not just AI in a generic sense. It is specifically how do we apply AI, not only in terms of what we can do, but also how do we protect what it is that we do? How do we interconnect everything that we do? AI is going to be the talk constantly. We'll hear it again and again and again across all of our content sessions from center stage, right?
Yeah, and I think we're just going to see how it really applies in the real world. We've seen a lot of theory about it, like a lot of innovations, but really kind of what does it mean for your company to jump on that AI bandwagon?
Absolutely. We are underway with the keynote. We're going to send it out to the keynote stage. We'll meet you right back here as soon as it's done. Welcome to the show, and away we go.
Please welcome Oliver Tusig, President EMEA.
Wow, wow, that has been impressive. The amount of changes that we've seen over the last years in the world, in technology and at Cisco is something I've never seen before. And I think it's important to take a break sometimes, step back and take in all the things we managed together, managed successfully. The pace of change that we experience right now is nowhere near at least anything I've seen before. And if I'm just looking at Cisco, the changes we did over the last 2 years, the amount of innovation, new products, partnership, is nowhere near to anything that has happened before. And there's no doubt it will continue this way. It will be fast, it will be full of changes, and it might be even more disruptive. The reason why I'm feeling good right now is I saw all the changes we did at Cisco. Because 2 years ago, we started to adapt to this world where there's more changes than ever before and a lot of unpredictabilities. We focused on simpler solutions. We built the platform. We integrated all our solutions to help our partners, customers, to manage all of these challenges that we're seeing in the world. And right now, I believe we are better equipped than ever before. Cisco Live is clearly the best place to get ready, to prepare for all the changes, because we're going to share in hundreds of sessions with experts, all the things, all the innovation we are doing. And we will be joined by great customers that are early adopters. They will show real use case. So it's the best way for you to learn and get ready for the future. But Cisco Live is also clearly the best place to meet some old friends and colleagues and make some news and get ready for the future. And the future will be different. And there's no doubt we will go beyond. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cisco Live. Welcome. Welcome to Amsterdam. It's great to see so many people here right now. And the good thing is, we had a record year last year, but we have even more people joining. Thanks for your commitment. It's amazing to have you all here, and especially the people that are joining us virtually from somewhere in the world. In these days, everybody is talking about changes and disruptions. Not a real surprise, and especially most recently, we have a good amount of reasons to think about disruptions. Nevertheless, I am very positive. I'm very positive that we can manage these challenges and deal with the disruption. Why? We did it before. We have the power, the experience of 40 years. 40 years working together. And the amount of disruption and changes we are managing through all these phases will give us the ability to survive not only, but even thrive in the next wave of changes. Yes, I'm talking about 40 years because we're celebrating our birthday. So to all of you that have been part of the journey and to everybody at Cisco, happy birthday. So it's really great to celebrate 40 years, to look back at all the things that we achieved, but also to look at today, and even more important, to look at the future and what we're going to achieve together. Right now, Gary would have joined me on stage, but he's no longer able to join us due to an unexpected conflict. He apologized and sends best wishes and hope that you all will enjoy Cisco Live. But let's be very clear, coming back to the 40 years, the amount of innovations we are delivering are only possible because of all the things we did over the 40 years. They enable us to be the best innovator right now. And I'm not sure if everybody remembers how it was beginning more than 40 years ago. We started with a simple idea to connect two networks together and share information. Since that very first connection, it evolved, and we continued to innovate, pioneered networking standards, and built technology that evolved over the time more and more, and impacted how the world lives, connects, and works together. Then it continued to accelerate, and from the start, it was clear that the network did more than just connecting things. It is a unifying technology that builds standards, a kind of platform, setting the stage for the digital transformation. Just to be clear, without the network, most of the business models of multi-billion-dollar companies today wouldn't even exist. Now, then, as the internet went public and became a platform for everybody, the network was no longer just infrastructure. It was, again, the platform for unified services, integrating more and more other services like telephony, video, data, and security. And especially security in the area of always on was key because the network was the front line of defense, fighting more and more attackers. And the network was the one who can enforce the policy and protect all of us. And then soon we were looking at IoT. Billions of devices were connected. It was the area of big data. And the network, again, was the platform to bring it all together. Then in 2010, we saw the rise of cloud and cloud applications all over the world. And the cloud only worked because it was connected to all of you via the network. And then 2020, not that far ago, all the challenges we're facing. And it kind of in an overnight change, we moved to video and remote working. And what again kept us alive, kept business working, kept people connected in a secure way, scalable around the globe, it was again the network. The speed of innovation that we're seeing right now is nowhere near anything we've seen before. Just in the last about 18 months, we saw so many announcements, and most recently, the absolute highlight for me, AI defense, and we will hear more about this later. But the amount of innovation and disruption we continue to deliver will be the ones that help us. It will help us to develop the right solutions to serve you in this changing time. And why are we so good in innovating? We're so good in innovating because we have a huge amount of people around the world, tech enthusiasts, that drive, that push us to deliver the innovation we are looking for. And I want to take the chance to say to all the people like you, a big thank you. A big thank you for being part of this journey and helping us to develop these kind of solutions. Big applause to all of you. Now, when I say all of you, I'm talking about a huge amount of people. I just did some math, I'm an engineer, and did some calculation, got data from all over the world, and more or less over the last 40 years, approximately 65 million people helped us to design, implement, operate, and optimize Cisco's networks and Cisco's solution. It's a pretty impressive number. And it took me about 2.5 hours to get to the number. Then I got a little advice from a younger person. Why didn't you do it with ChatGPT? ChatGPT took a minute. The same with DeepSeek to get me the same number. This is the power of AI. Now, if you factor down this number to today, 25, approximately 3 million people are working with Cisco right now. 3 million people at our customers, at our partners, operating, managing the vast infrastructure. And within this group, there is one group that I always love to highlight. These are the experts like CCIEs, CCDAs, DevNet experts, and all the other highly certified people. And we launched this program called CCIE in '93. And since that time, we certified 71,000 people in the world. So I'm interested, the statistics tell me we're about 1,000 CCIE here. So can you raise your hand if you're a CCIE? I see. And let me just find out, is there any CCIE who certified more than 25 years ago? Oh, there's one. Can I get a mic? You stand up. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael. So more than 25 years, when did you certify?
93.
93 was the beginning.
That was the beginning, yeah. One of the first CCIEs worldwide.
Wow. Big applause. So I know Cisco is a cool company today, but at this time, what was the reason why you certified?
Well, there was only one vendor sharing information about networking, and Cisco enabled me to learn about all new technologies. So, yeah, if you learn about it, you certify for it.
And I think this is more than 32 years ago. Why are you still doing it?
They never stopped teaching me things about new emerging technologies and keeping me in the front line of technology. So that keeps it interesting.
Wow, thanks a lot. That's an interesting story. Thanks, Michael. Is there anybody who's certified recently, maybe a year ago? Where are you? There's one. Can you please stand up and tell us your name?
I'm Esa Rahimi. I became CCIE in 2024, just a few months ago.
Wow, congratulations, first of all. Tell me, why did you decide? Because I know it's not easy. I must admit, I'm not a CCIE, and I know it's a lot of work. So why did you do it?
CCIE has been always my personal and my professional goal to become a CCIE. When I started my journey into the world of tech, almost like 9 or 10 years ago. So I wanted to hit the top level of certification, for example, a CCIE. Of course, I went through different vendors to learn and certified. I found Cisco the best path to be an expert.
Let's stop here. I can't say it better. Big applause and thanks a lot to all of you. And I know you're all highly committed and invest a lot of time every year to stay a CCIE or any other kind of certification. And just to be very clear, we are committed and we will not stop investing in all of you. We will add more training, we will add more AI in all our training, and we will continue to ensure that we are close with you. So it's clearly, we will never stop investing in you, and this year we will even go beyond with all of those. Now, let's talk about the market and our customers. What are we hearing from all of you? What we are seeing? What is happening in the market right now? And there is no doubt, the IT sector is by far the best industry to be in. It's fast growing, it's impactful, and everybody needs us. I'm personally pretty happy that I, 40 years ago, decided to follow my father, who was an engineer. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made to be in tech, because it's also a lot of fun. But let's move to some real data, not only the fun I'm having here right now. If you listen to Gartner right now, they predict that Europe, the ICT market, the end user spend, will grow to the number of 1.3 trillion. And this is in this year a growth of more than 10%. We're in an industry that is growing 10%. By the way, Middle East and Africa, 7.5% growth. So there is something happening. And when we look at the details, many of the countries we're talking about have a pretty low GDP growth right now. But in most countries, our market is growing up to 5 times faster than GDP. Now the question is, why? Is this just a catch-up from the underspend of the last years? No, I believe it's bigger and it will last longer. Because we see many companies trying to embrace the power of technology, utilizing AI and other technologies to create competitive advantages. And when I'm listening to customers, I hear more and more the same story. They all trying to become a tech company. Every business in this world will become a tech company. For me, there's no doubt. But don't get me wrong, I know this is not easy. Becoming a tech company is pretty difficult, especially as you need to build it sustainable, resilient. You're not allowed to increase operational costs. You need to follow policies. And it's a big challenge. And we understand that for all of you, this is a challenge. And even you might have all different priorities and challenges. There are three things I and my team hears every time when we're talking to all of you. The first one, not a surprise, is all about unlocking the power of AI. And just to be clear, this changed so fast. In just 2 years, all of this came up. We're now in the age of the agents, and more companies trying to find a way. Just be clear, there was no doubt it might have been a bit overhyped, and some of the benefits didn't come as fast as people were expecting. But the good thing is, we are now at the time where we're moving out of the hype cycle. We're getting through the trough of disillusionment, and we are finally seeing companies realizing first benefits that are even scalable. And one of the companies that started there very early, which has a great use case, is Cisco. late 2019, we started to create a virtual engineer, an AI-based engineer, that allows us to support the TAC, Technical Assistance Center engineers, to solve cases faster and better. And since that time, we've been able to achieve a number of 1 million cases that we solved better and faster with less efforts thanks to AI. But don't get me wrong, this was also not easy for us. There are many challenges on this way. And our Cisco AI readiness tells us the whole story behind this one. Because on the one hand side, 85% of our customers right now truly believe they need to adapt AI within the next 18 months, or they will see a negative impact. It's not about improving, it's about having a negative impact. Pretty decent number. The problem is, globally, only 13% of companies believe they're ready. They are able to do this. So you can say 13 is a pretty shitty number. Look at the number for Europe, it's 7%. Only 7% of the companies are ready. Now let's try to understand why is. We launched a new survey yesterday, which tells us the 3 main reasons that is stopping companies to drive this. The first should not be a surprise. We're talking about something that is in the market only 2 years. But skills and all the knowledge is not there. It needs to be built. But the next 2 are the ones that we all together, everybody in the room, can address, because it's about infrastructure limitation and security concerns. We can help to fix these. Let's jump to the next one. Also, not really new. Everybody is trying to simplify and drive efficiency, or if you prefer the other version, it's killing complexity. Complexity is one of the biggest challenges customers facing right now. And why is it going bigger and bigger every day? It's very simple. There's more workloads, more attacks, more IP address, more devices to manage, more service, more apps, more connections, everything is growing fast. And when you look at the work of somebody who's managing the operational infrastructure, from the outside it might sound simple, but the reality is not that simple, because you're managing your own networks and unknown networks. You're managing private, public data centers. You're managing devices that are managed and owned, or not owned and unmanaged. And to be clear, the workplace definition starts at Starbucks and might not even end at a production plant right now. So the complexity you need to deal with is simply mind-blowing. And it's limiting to you all to drive further innovation. Because if half of your team is just working on getting different pieces working together, you don't have the capacity. And this will only get worse. Why? Most of the admins will retire in the next 3 to 5 years. And there's not a lot of people in the market that you can hire. That's also what CEOs tell us. And right now, 95% see already a negative impact to managing their networks because of missing experts, engineers to do this. This is one of the main reasons why everybody is looking for standardization, moving away from best of breed, driving AI and automation. Now, let me come to the last one, at least as important as all of them. It is resilience, managing risk, digital resilience. And in times where every company is becoming a tech company, business resilience is the same as digital resilience. If your core business runs on tech, any impact on tech will have an impact on your daily business. And this is a topic, risk, on every board agenda right now, because we've seen so many surprises, risk, that we were not prepared for. And I'm not only talking about the cybersecurity risk, where we're still behind and companies investing heavily. There's so many other risks that are occurring in our area. Here's just a summary of what I'm hearing. Number 1, human error. We're all only humans. And in a time of complex infrastructure, no standardization and no automation, this is causing a lot of impact. And then managing upgrades across multiple different systems and platforms. All the regulation and policies you need to deal with. And of course, managing the technology debt. A lot of customers running on old systems, and it's difficult to keep up with the implementation speed they need to know. And there's one thing that is very sad to talk about, where we're getting more requests from customers, governments, that ask us how we can help them to become resilient for a different kind of conflict, an impact on their country. That's the world we're living in right now. So all of these can cause big, and do cause already big damages to all of your companies. The Global 2000, that's a survey done with our friends from Splunk, the Global 2000 have a yearly downtime cost of 400 billion. That's 200 million per company. Something we all can help with easily. Now, let's talk about these three areas one more time. If we at Cisco are not able to help you to address all of the three areas, sorry, my clicker will not follow me, thanks a lot. If we don't help you unlocking power the AI, simplify and drive efficiency, and strengthen your digital resilience, we will be not your perfect partner. And that's why all our efforts are now focused on this area. Last year, we made the initial step while I was here on stage, talking about being more platform-focused, more outcome-focused, more integrated, more open. And with the integration of Splunk proceeding, we're coming even better. We create the data backbone open to also other applications to help you managing these challenges. At the end, it's all about Cisco coming together as one. And just be very clear, there's nobody, absolutely nobody in the world who's capable to bring the power of the network together with security, observability, and collaboration in the way we can do. We're the only company who can deliver this integration and make your life easier. It's easier to implement, it's easier to operate, it's easier to maintain as we integrate it for you. Now, how do we approach this? We're looking at three pillars. And these three pillars that we took internally, how we design and deliver to you, are around AI-ready data centers to power and secure AI workloads anywhere. Of course, it's future-proof workplaces empowered by the network. And last not least, digital resilience, where we bring together all our observability, security, and assurance capabilities, all empowered by secure global connectivity and accelerated by AI. As customers and partners, you will see the impact. It will be easier to work with you. We are closer to your core business. But just be clear, we won't be able to do this if we don't create a product story that allows you to do exactly this. A product that enables you to be integrated. And that's why we changed our approach, how we develop product. We created one team, one leader, who's bringing together all the products, so that right from the beginning, from the design, they're working better together. They're more integrated, more platform-focused, more secure, more open. And the next person who will join me on stage is the guy who's running all of this. He's our new Chief Product Officer, the one and only Jeetu Patel. But before he comes on stage, roll the video.
Please welcome EVP and Chief Product Officer Jeetu Patel.
All right. How's everyone doing? You know, for those of you that don't know, trivia-wise, Oliver, besides being a great human being and a great presenter, he's also a great dancer. He's the man who stays on the dance floor until the night closes out. So if you ever get a chance to go hang out at a party with Oliver, he is the man. So, well, thank you all for being here. This is a fantastic, turnout. And I always love coming to Cisco Live EMEA because if you think about it, Cisco cannot succeed if this region doesn't succeed. You folks are critical to our success. We are so grateful to you and taking out time from your valuable day to make sure that you spend it with us. We want to make sure we make it worth your while. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm also honored to actually run product for this iconic company. And what I thought I'd do before I get started is walk you through some of my core philosophy on how we think about building products, which then translates basically to our commitments to you. And the core philosophy that we have, there's 3 core principles that I actually really help guide the way in which we actually start thinking about building products. The first one is we have to make sure that we build products that people love, that they talk to their friends and family about. Now, people always ask me, Jeetu, why, you're an infrastructure company. Why do you need to make sure that you build products that people talk to their friends and family about? Who talks to their friends and family about infrastructure? Well, the reality is if you want to build products and technologies for hundreds of millions, billions of people, the most effective marketing engine is word of mouth. And the only way that word of mouth happens is when you've emotionally connected your product so that people love your product and they actually feel compelled to talk about it with others. And so we want to make sure that we actually deliver that to you. So the first one is we want to make sure that we build products that you all love. Second is I want to make sure that we never talk about quality. And the only way you don't talk about quality is make it priority 0 and make sure it's never an issue. Now, there are times when we've actually had some issues in quality in certain products, and we want to make sure that those never happen. So there'll be a relentless focus in every product that we build to make sure it just works. So just assume that quality is going to be priority 0 for us. And number 3 is we want to make sure that we actually think asymmetrically about the market rather than thinking very linearly. And what that means is we want to make sure that we actually don't just play catch up to the market, but we leapfrog the market and redefine how we're not just 10% better than our competition, but we're at least an order of magnitude better. Because frankly, if you're 10% better than your competition, it's very hard to justify moving over to Cisco. But if you're 10 times better, it's irresponsible to ignore Cisco. And what we want to do is make it irresponsible for you to ignore us because we are so much better than what the market delivers that there's no other choice besides actually making sure that you consider us and have your business propel as a result of Cisco's technology that can be delivered to you. So that's the goal, is to have that core philosophy. Now, before I talk about all the amazing innovation that the team has done that I'm so proud of, what I want to do is I want to make sure I take a step back and talk about what's happening at a macro level. Because at a macro level, like Oliver talked about, AI is fundamentally changing everything, and the speed and pace at which things are moving is so fast that it's actually hard to keep up. Just 2 years ago, if you think about it, we had this watershed moment. And that watershed moment was when ChatGPT launched. And what it did was consumerized AI and made it very real for every single individual in the world. But you know, in these technologies, what ends up happening is sometimes you might think that there's overhyped in the short term. People always overestimate the impact of these shifts in the short term, but grossly underestimate it in the long term. We're now at a point where in 2025, it's actually considered to be pretty likely that we will have artificial general intelligence become a reality, which means that the cognitive capabilities of AI actually match those of humans. And superintelligence, which is when cognitive capabilities of AI exceed those of every human, is now no longer a fantasy, but something that's going to be in a relatively, reasonable time frame, right? And so when you start thinking about this, and you say, so how is this going to change the composition of our workforce. Because today, if you think about it, 100% of the composition of the workforce is humans. What we'll see is that there's going to be a tremendous augmentation to humans with AI agents, AI assistants, robotics, humanoids that are going to be added, where this throughput capacity that we all currently assume is going to grow exponentially. So while we might have 8 billion people on the planet today, we will feel like we have the throughput capacity with this augmentation of 80 billion people. And the reality is things keep moving faster and faster. And just in the last 2 weeks, or a few weeks, there's been some seismic developments that have happened in the industry that just blow my mind. And this is actually the pace that is only going to accelerate over time. So let's talk about a couple of those. Because the two really consequential things that will actually shape the industry that happened in the past couple of weeks. The first one is what I call the DeepSeek effect. And the second is what I call the operator effect. Now, what does the DeepSeek effect mean? That means that the cost curve is going to go down precipitously of what it takes to train a model. And we will, therefore, as a consequence of that, make sure that we have many, many models. You won't just have tens of models, you might have thousands of models, and this will actually have massive implications on security and safety. The second area is the operator effect, and for those of you that might have not tried out Operator from OpenAI, you should just try it out because that's what the future is going to look like, because what you will be able to do is just tell the computer to make sure that you can get a task completely done, fully autonomously on your behalf, right? And the thing that'll happen with the operator effect is the ability for these multiple agents in multiple different data centers that'll all be talking to each other and need to connect will have a very different set of expectations for infrastructure than what we actually have today. And so the connectivity infrastructure, the networking infrastructure is going to be central in powering this. And it's so important that these two seismic shifts that are going on right now will have a direct implication on how we at Cisco will be able to help you out. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to present a whole new set of assumptions around what the infrastructure requirements are going to look like and what the risks are going to look like. So the question you might then ask is, so how is Cisco going to help me address these challenges? And this is where Oliver very eloquently kind of phrased, where he said that there's going to be few areas where we are going to be very focused. The first one is we're going to help everyone make sure that you can have AI-ready data centers built out for your organizations in a way that you can actually be ready for this transition for AI. The second big area that we'll have a huge amount of focus on is making sure that the workplaces themselves are future-proofed. And if we assume for a moment that every company is going to be a digital company, every company is going to be an AI company, then like Oliver mentioned, business resilience is actually digital resilience, right? And so those are the three kind of key areas. And then what this is going to be done is it's going to be powered by this notion of secure global connectivity and accelerated with AI. Now, this is all great, but the question that often gets asked is, hey, so Jeetu, why is Cisco different? And what is unique about Cisco as we bring about this shift? Because there is a platform shift that's going on that's going to happen with or without Cisco. But what's the big difference that we're going to have? And this is an area that we want to make sure that you understand where we're going to be investing a fair amount of our resources. Billions of dollars will be going in here on an annualized basis so that we can make sure we deliver these values to you. This is the way I think about it as a structural advantage. The first one is a platform advantage, where we want to make sure that there's a compounding value of the platform that we have. So every single capability and product that we build should reduce your marginal cost of ingestion for every subsequent product that's actually going to be ingested by you. We want to make sure that the cost of adopting new technology from Cisco goes down precipitously, and it compounds value in the products that you might already have. So if we built a product, and if you've got two products that already exist, the product we built should add more value to the two products you already have. That's this notion of a platform advantage, right? The second thing we want to make sure that we do is we want to build out the entire stack from the silicon to the systems to the software. And the reason for this is because there is a tremendous amount of leverage you can get and tremendous amount of benefits you can get by integrating these in a very harmonious way. So silicon is a very core part of our strategy. And the third one is the way I think about it is Cisco is the only AI-first secure networking company in the world. Because there's a lot of companies that are AI-first security companies, a lot of companies that are AI-first networking companies, but we're the only secure networking company in the world. So let's talk about what we'll do and how these advantages manifest. And let's dig into this. So the first area is around AI-ready data centers. So we know at this point in time that every organization needs to lay the groundwork for AI, right? That's extremely necessary. And so what we need to do is make sure that there's a few components that work harmoniously well together as we make this happen. First one being networking, the second being compute, and third being security. All these three have to work hand in hand. And if we start to think about it, we want to deliver this not just for one class of customers, but multiple classes of customers so they can all learn from each other. So we deliver this capability to the largest of the largest hyperscalers. We learn from that. We also deliver it to service providers. And of course, we deliver it for the enterprise. And the fact that we deliver it for all those three constituencies benefits all three of them because we learn from each other and make sure that we're able to share it. And so there's incredible momentum in the past year. Let's just take a look at a few examples because we launched the AI pods, which are all new AI pods, which was a kind of a validated design for compute, storage, and networking all together for powering AI inferencing. We also made sure that we launched the AI server, which was an NVIDIA-powered AI server, or NVIDIA-based AI server with 8 GPUs. And so this was something that we launched. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that we can increase the flexibility for you even more. And so how do we make sure that we get this data center compute area to be more flexible than what we had before? Where you might not need to go out and buy an 8 GPU server right away because that's not what your volumes dictate. You might want to start smaller and then grow over time. And so I'm delighted to announce, our first announcement today is, as you have a lot of need for growing kind of compute, we will make sure that we provide for you a NVIDIA-based GPU server that can either be a 2 GPU, 4 GPU, 6 GPU, or an 8 GPU server. You have full flexibility in how you'll be able to make sure that you scale up, right? And so that's the first major announcement, and this is something that's going to give you all the flexibility where you don't have to jump in right away with everything all at once, but as your needs grow, we will grow with you. Now, great, thank you. But I want to make sure that this is a huge step forward in compute, and we will continue to keep investing in compute, but next I want to talk about something that's completely category defining. And that is the introduction of Cisco smart switches. It's basically the most revolutionary new switch with built-in DPUs, or data processing units. This is a first in its category, and we're so excited about this because this completely changes the landscape of networking like never before. So let me actually walk you through what the announcements are, because we're announcing 2 classes of switches: a cloud on-ramp switch with a DPU and a top-of-rack switch with a DPU, both based on a Silicon One design where we've partnered with AMD so that they can provide us the DPUs. And this completely changes everything. Now, the question you might be asking is, why is this so important to have a DPU and a switch, right? Well, the reason it's important to have a DPU and a switch is because it provides acceleration. And what you're able to do is run workloads like networking, storage, networking, storage, and security on the DPU and offload that from the CPU that you might have. So you can run that workload on the switch itself, right? And so what that allows you to do is have technologies like Cisco Hypershield have an enforcement point that's running on a top-of-rack switch rather than always running on a separate appliance. So what you've done is you've distributed security and you've embedded it into the fabric of the network. Whether it be a top-of-rack switch, whether it be on a server, whether it be in an eBPF agent, it's just going to be sprinkled all over, because no longer can you just have a perimeter-based security as the only security option. You have to have security massively distributed. Now, that's great, but Hypershield is great, but we need to make sure that we're fundamentally reimagining firewalling in this entire hyper-distributed world. And so the way to think about this is we are, for the first time, announcing Cisco's Enhanced Cloud Protection Suite, which essentially is the most advanced hybrid mesh firewall in the world. And this is something that Gartner has been actually doing a lot of work around. And let me just walk you through and see how this works, because this is something that's really important and a game-changing moment in what's happening in the industry, this concept of a hybrid mesh firewall. So let's talk about all the components in the firewall that you have to think about that are going to be sprinkled in your network, right? You start with a classical firewall, a traditional firewall. You need to make sure that that's available in your network. Next, you need to make sure that you have secure workload. Secure workload will provide you with, to be able to isolate and protect workloads and do segmentation. Third, you'll be able to have the ability to have a modern network fabric with a company called Isovalent that we had acquired, who was the creator of eBPF technology. They had co-created that with Meta, right? And so that technology essentially becomes the layer that can go out and observe what's going on at a kernel level without sitting in the kernel. And then fourth, Hypershield then gets built on top of Isovalent so that we can have this distributed security in front of every microservice, in front of every Kubernetes container, in front of every Kubernetes cluster. Then what we have is these DPU-based switches that we're talking about, so that you can take that technology and actually have it run on the smart switches. And the beauty about all of this stuff is you can not just go out and do it with Cisco technology. We will also enforce policy on third-party firewalls that you might have in your estate, because we want to make sure that we are working in an open ecosystem. So we'll be able to set policy in third-party firewalls that you might have in your estate. And so that essentially gives you this kind of completely distributed fabric in a hybrid mesh firewall. And by the way, the amazing part of this, it's all managed in a single pane of glass with security cloud control that's available now. Right? And we wanted to make sure that we had this gorgeous, beautiful way to go out and manage your hybrid mesh firewall. But what we also want to do is make sure that you can have a completely different way that you can interact and engage and set policy and do troubleshooting. So sitting on top of security cloud control is Cisco AI Assistant. That's a unified AI assistant that'll be able to allow you to set policy based on a prompt interface, that allows you to troubleshoot based on a prompt interface. That's multimodal. You ask it a question in natural language, get back a response. And that's the beauty of this. And to talk a little bit more about this entire category, what we've done is we've actually had some amazing leaders that have joined Cisco recently, and I wanted to get Tom Gillis up on stage, who actually runs our entire security and data center business. So Tom, where are you, my friend? So Tom.
Yes, sir.
What are you most excited about, my friend?
It's a fascinating time
to
be working in the data center, right? Data centers are cool again. They're interesting again. Let's talk about all the change that's happening in the data center with this product portfolio. The foundation of it is performance. And why do we need this kind of performance? Well, Moore's law said that a server would get twice as fast every 2 years. And we lived with that for decades. Now, all of a sudden, we're introducing GPUs into the infrastructure. And a GPU is a parallel processor, which means not only does it get faster clock speeds, it gets wider. So the amount of data that we have to feed the GPUs isn't twice as much. It's 10 times as much, right? That is a huge, huge leap forward. And Silicon One is the engine that can funnel all this data and to feed those incredibly data-hungry GPUs. So with our Silicon One-based switches, we are delivering an astounding 800 gigabits per second per port in a Nexus switch, right? Amazing. And you may be thinking, she's like, I'm running at 25 gigs. Why do I need 800 gigs? Once you light up some of these GPU servers, the ones you talked about earlier, where you can scale from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, you're going to need that kind of bandwidth to feed these hungry machines. So performance is foundational.
Right.
But what I think is notable is that we're not just getting faster, we're getting smarter. And so Hyperfabric is a new operating model. It allows you to deploy a Cisco-validated design with the touch of a button. No more CLI. You don't have to log in and configure these things. You push a button, this stuff ships, configured, deploys, you put it up, it just works. So a really, really powerful new operating model. And then, in my opinion, the most interesting thing is the one you just talked about, which is this new category of smart switch. So by bringing a DPU...
And by the way, when you and I first started talking about coming on board, on board, we talked about it at our first dinner, saying we got to do this.
Yes, exactly right. This has been the dream. And so I think this is really important for everyone to understand. This is not just a feature. This is a new class of device because it combines a security processor and a network processor in a single device. And when you put them together, but they're independently managed, it opens the door for a whole array of advanced security processing that we can do built into the network, but not trying to cobble a separate box into the network. So with these DPU-enabled switches, we can take what used to be a firewall function, we break it up into software, and we sprinkle it everywhere, right? So very, very fine-grained controls that can protect an application in ways that wasn't possible before. So I think we're going to find
the reason that's important is why?
Because what we want to do is we want to put controls around the services that make up an application. So traditionally, firewalls lived in a box, and that box lived at the edge of the network. But what we want to think about is a little tiny micro perimeter that can protect every database, every web server, every Kubernetes cluster gets its own little miniature perimeter. And so with Hypershield, we've delivered an architecture that can create this distributed system where you could have 1 million little tiny baby firewalls in your infrastructure, right? One on the database, one on the web server, one on the Kubernetes cluster. Every switch port now becomes its own high performance, individually configurable layer 7 firewall. Now, anyone who's administered a firewall will know, like, hey, wait a minute, I can't manage 1,000 firewalls, let alone 1 million firewalls, right? So we need a new management model. And here's where Cisco's really innovated. We've delivered this dual data path. So when we have a version of the software, if a new version's available, we put that into a parallel data path, and the AI engine, again, coming back to the power of AI, compares the two versions. We watch them for 5 or 6 days. The AI engine says, hey, these are the same. We'll migrate flows onto the new version, keep the old one in place for another 5 or 6 days. The AI engine says, still the same. We load the next version. So this thing upgrades itself.
Just like your iPhone.
Think about it, right? You've got a firewall that upgrades itself, no change control window, right? No complex rule sets to manage. This thing is very, very autonomous.
But you can rest assured that it's not going to break because it's been tested and proven with live data paths.
On live traffic. That's the key. So it is a whole new architecture that it's allowing us to put security in places that you've never been able to put security and deliver a better security outcome without big, expensive, proprietary, power-hungry security appliances. It's this distributed system. And the key to it all is that cloud-delivered management. You talked about it, the security cloud control. So it's a single place for your policies to set up with multiple different enforcement points. And this is really important. We're not asking you to rip and replace your existing infrastructure, but rather it's the opposite, where we're saying, keep your existing infrastructure, use security cloud control as the umbrella that takes over all of your stuff, the old stuff and the new stuff, and then bit by bit, as your infrastructure ages out, you can introduce this more advanced distributed system to put security in places you couldn't imagine before.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Gillis.
Thank you so much.
Now, as we talked about earlier, AI itself is going to present a whole new class of risks. And so the question you might ask is, why is it going to present this whole new class of risks? It's because the application architecture is fundamentally different. If you think about the classical application architecture, you basically had the infrastructure layer, you had a data layer, you had some kind of application or business logic layer, and of course there's a presentation layer. But now what we're doing is we have inserted another layer in there, and that layer that we're inserting is the models. Now, it's not just one model, you'll actually have a multi-model world. And these models aren't just going to be tens, they might be thousands over time. Now, what is the core characteristic of a model? The core characteristic of a model is it is fundamentally non-deterministic in nature, which means it's unpredictable. But business applications need to be predictable. So you're basically trying to build predictable applications on an unpredictable core layer within your stack, right? And this opens up a whole new class of risks that we have not seen happen before. Now, we also know that if this unpredictability of this model, when a model breaks, really bad things can happen. Because you might have hallucination and you might have behaviors that you didn't want it to have, and you might actually create some kind of liability for your organization. So what we have to do is we have to start thinking about two key areas that we need to make sure that we can de-risk in order to make sure that the applications we're building on these models are done in the right way. And those two areas are around model safety and model security, where you're trying to secure AI itself. You're not using AI in your security stack alone, you're also trying to secure AI itself, right? And if you start thinking on the first aspect, which is safety, safety says, is the model behaving the way that we want the model to behave? Is there going to be hallucination? Is there going to be toxicity? Is there going to be some kind of self-harm that can be created in the model? How can we make sure that we determine if that is happening, and what can we do to stop that from happening? And then the security side says, is there an external actor that's going to go out and have a prompt injection attack on the model that could change the behavior of the model itself? These are two extremely important dimensions that need to be factored in so that we can de-risk them. And that's precisely why on January 15th, we had launched this all-new product called Cisco AI Defense. And the goal over here was to make sure that when developers build applications or users use applications, that they don't have to actually think about security all the time, because they can innovate fearlessly, and we will take care of the security and safety issues that need to be thought about as a common substrate across all models, all applications, all agents. Right? So that was this whole new category of a product that we had built that would provide you visibility, make sure that you validate the model, and then make sure that you have runtime enforcement. Now, what are the two big problems that Cisco AI Defense solves? The first problem is it enables an employee of an organization, when they're using AI tools, like ChatGPT or any other tool that you might have, to ensure that those tools can be used securely. And that either unintentionally or intentionally, if they are trying to either exfiltrate data or accidentally have data that's getting leaked or getting ingested in, we want to make sure that there's guardrails put in place for that. So that's the first problem. But the larger problem, that's a more complicated problem, is every application that gets built using these models, because every app is going to be an AI application, every app is going to have some kind of models that they use. How do we make sure that those applications that are being built have some kind of guardrail, so that not only are you providing visibility on what's happening, but you're actually validating the model on a continuous basis to see, is this model behaving the way that we want it to behave? And then when it doesn't, you can provide some runtime enforcement guardrails, so that when it's actually being used, we can stop it from happening. And so rather than me just talk about it, what I thought we'd do is we'd invite up DJ Sampath, who runs our AI business, to show you a demo. So DJ, come on up.
Hey.
So congratulations, firstly. This was a very, very big launch that you had. And tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from a demand signal perspective, and then show us a demo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yep.
You know, we've been working on this for a little over a year right now. We've been talking about doing this, and you know, in all of our conversations with our customers, you know, we've had over 100+ conversations right now. What we've learned is security and safety is a top-of-mind concern for them as they think about adoption of AI. And so let me show you what we've built with AI Defense. So, you know, for every security organization that we've had this conversation, the very first thing that they talk about is, you know, visibility is top of their minds, right? So what you're seeing here is the AI Defense dashboard. This dashboard lives inside of the security cloud control. And right off the bat, we provide you with, you know, clear visibility of all of the applications and agents that are running inside of your environment, the models that power them, the data that you're using for inferencing, and finally, the users that are accessing the third-party applications. Now let's take a quick look into this, right? What you're seeing here is all of the applications that the users are using, the employees are using inside of the organization are seamlessly categorized, and we're doing this with the help of a very cool integration with Cisco Secure Access. Now, because of this integration, what we're able to see is the details of how the generative AI application is being used inside of your organization, whether it's sanctioned, it's not sanctioned, and also, you know, all the way to the identities of users that are accessing these applications. Now, hopping back into that second use case that you were talking about, right, Jeetu? You were talking about people are building first-party applications as well. We are providing unprecedented visibility into all of these applications. Whether they're using these as a gateway or whether they're using an API to call into those AI applications, we give you complete visibility into that. And what you can then see is, you know, you might discover apps that you know that are running inside of your environment, and maybe there are apps that you didn't know, you know, that are running inside of your environment as well. Now, for the ones that you do know, you can see, you know, as soon as you click into this, you talked about model validation. It's a really important step to make sure that these models are just validated. They don't have any vulnerability. So you see a score that pops up right on top. But for the ones that you didn't know about, saying, you know, there's a new application and a new model that starts to pop up, we make it incredibly simple. We give you a simple button that allows you to validate a model. What normally would take 7 to 10 weeks, we've shrunk it down into a matter of minutes. Now, with this, you're able...
Let's take a pause over there. So a model company would typically take 7 to 10 weeks to validate a model, which means figure out whether it's behaving the way you want it to behave, and we've shrunk it down to a few minutes now.
That's exactly right. Right? So we're constantly testing the model with a whole lot of different types of attack prompts and responses to see how the model comes back to you. We've organized this by the different threat types. We've organized this by different attack techniques. And you, as a security practitioner, you can see exactly what the prompt request was and what the responses came back when you tested these attacks out, right? Now, here's the thing. Once you've discovered all of these vulnerabilities, what's really important next is to enforce these guardrails at runtime when these models are out running in production. And so what I'm going to show you here is when an attacker tries to attack the model, you can instantly see exactly what the prompt request was and then block it with the help of these guardrails. So in this particular case, somebody's asking for all of the contact details of all of your employees. Guess what? That's PII data that cannot make its way outside. And so these guardrails detect this at runtime and then instantly block it. And you can see all of that information inside of Cisco AI Defense. So that's the whole demo. Back to the dashboard, we showed you how we do visibility, where we provide you with unprecedented visibility of all of the applications and the AI use. We showed you how we do validation to make sure that these models do not have vulnerabilities. And last but not the least, enforcement, seamless enforcement across the entire fabric.
And you know, my favorite part, DJ, on this thing is that it's actually fully integrated into the platform. So when you actually have to protect a user, that can be fully integrated into secure access.
That's right.
And if you have to make sure that you have enforcement even for developers, we just talked about smart switches and Hypershield. This is going to be fully integrated into Hypershield. So Hypershield can be an enforcement point for AI defense, all managed through Security Cloud Control, all managed through a Cisco AI assistant that can be on top that actually makes sure that you can provide it the right level of instructions.
That's right. It's seamlessly connected into that fabric.
Now, this is a fascinating kind of set of developments that are happening so fast. One of the things that we did recently was this notion of testing out and putting DeepSeek to the test on saying how safe is it actually. And so tell us a little bit more about that, because we recently did a study there.
That's right. The Cisco threat research team came out with this study where they took out the, essentially what's called the harm bench, which is a set of problems that are available, and they sampled a harm bench, and then we attacked DeepSeek, right? We tried to jailbreak the model. What we discovered was 100% of the attacks succeeded.
And this is the one time the 100% is not a good thing.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
In this particular case, you can see that, an O1 preview model, just, only 26% of the attacks succeeded, whereas with DeepSeek, about 100% of them did.
But this is not about DeepSeek. What this says is if you have thousands and thousands of models, not all of them are going to be great in security, but you still want to make sure you de-risk your organization. So if you have AI defense, that'll actually give you all the comfort that you know exactly where the model is going to break and can be jailbroken, and then put the runtime enforcement guardrails.
That's
DJ
right.
Sampath, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Take care. Give it up for DJ. All right, so that essentially is AI-ready data centers with security, networking, and compute all working harmoniously together. Now, let's jump to how do we future-proof workplaces? Now, if you think about workplaces, people work from all different sorts of places. They might work from a campus, they might work from a branch, they might work from a home office, they might work from a car, they might even work from a factory floor or a contact center. And what's happening right now is there's a blending of this physical and digital world that's happening. And what I mean by that is you're going to have this augmentation with people, with AI and robotics. In fact, if you look around over here on stage, there's a camera just moving around autonomously by itself, kind of film. It's a little creepy initially, but then all of a sudden we feel it's magic for the first 5 minutes, and then we just get used to it, and then we move on, right? And so that's typically what's happening in this industry is you look at something, it feels like magic, and then it normalizes right away, And so you start thinking about all of these different ways that the physical and digital worlds are blending, and what's going to happen in the future-proof workplace is you're going to see networking capabilities and collaborative capabilities for enhancing the experience and security completely blend together. And if you don't blend it together, then they look and feel like a very disjointed experience. So you want to make sure that all these things are working harmoniously together. But it all starts with the network. So let's talk about what all the amazing capabilities and innovations are that the team has been working on. So last November, we launched our very first Wi-Fi 7 access points, right? And these weren't just access points. These were actual sensors. And those sensors worked seamlessly with Cisco Spaces so that your spaces became smart spaces. And we listened to your feedback because you said, it's really hard sometimes to do business with Cisco. Simplify the way in which you go about transacting business with us. So what we wanted to do was we had to simplify our licensing model as well. And so we had one product ID for hardware, we had one kind of license for cloud and on-prem, and we needed to make sure that we had one product support model. And this was feedback that all of you had given us, and you should keep in mind that this is the direction that we're going to be going in the future for most of our products. So I thought you folks would be excited about that. Yes? Yep, I thought you would be. But I'm delighted to announce now that we've now got the next major milestone, which is we're announcing zero-friction Wi-Fi 7 branch and site capabilities from both an access point perspective as well as the switch. So let's talk about this a little bit. So when you start thinking about this, we're launching 2 models of switches that are both very energy efficient kind of designs. They're new access points designed for smaller spaces, and they'll make sure that we have, one of them is a wall-mounted version that's going to be great for hotels and dormitories and things of that nature. And then the other one is a regular access point, and they're going to be available starting this month. Now, we're also announcing a branch switch that's actually specifically designed to work with the Wi-Fi 7 access points. And so what you could start to see over here is there's going to be a continued level of introduction of newer and newer access points, and they all work harmoniously with a switch on a unified platform. Now, the beauty about this is we're also making sure that this is going to work seamlessly, and you'll see this as a pattern today, where We're also announcing an AI assistant for networking as part of the Cisco Unified AI Assistant. So now you're able to go and have a prompt-based interface and a natural language interface for management of all your access points and your switches just baked into the product. Right? And so to talk a little bit more about this, rather than us just talking about it, what I thought we'd do is share with you what a customer like SAP is doing in their environment for fundamentally reimagining the workplace. So let's roll video.
Cisco and SAP have agreed on an ambitious milestone for the migration of our more than 250 offices globally. Right now, we are planning on having upwards of 350,000 devices on the network, including IoT devices. We have more than 100,000 employees. They need best-in-class IT infrastructure to work wherever, whenever, and however they choose with the devices they prefer. With Cisco, we've made our network simpler and more secure. Cisco SDA also enabled us to improve our Zero Trust access policy, ensuring only trusted devices can access corporate resources. With the Cisco Spaces, we could leverage this foundation and establish a global platform for smart offices. A first experience confirms our hopes and expectation that we can manage everything in one place together with a professional partner like Cisco.
I hope what you're seeing is that in networking, what we will be doing in 2025, from a standpoint of innovation, will be more than what we have actually innovated in the past decade combined. The velocity of innovation is going to go up exponentially, and you can start to see the tempo and feel. And we've done the same thing in security, we're doing the same thing in observability, so just know that expect a lot of cool innovation that's coming your way, because we want to make sure that you're ready for this next era. Now, as part of these workplaces, experience really matters. And you want to make sure that we are delivering an AI-powered employee and customer set of experiences. So it's not just for employees, but also for your customers. And if you look at the past few years, the team has done a fantastic job in innovating in all different areas, from video devices to WebEx to contact center and all of these particular areas. And it's very hard to go out and actually drain this slide, because it would take me 30 minutes just to talk about this. But what I want to talk about is one particular area that I think is going to be game-changing in the world, that all of our lives get affected with, regardless of the job that we do. And that is, we spend weeks in our lives, 4 to 6 weeks, for every person's life gets spent waiting on hold to have someone come up as an operator so that they can help you out when you call for something. Right? I'm not making this up, this is real. Over a week of over a month of your life, you've just spent waiting on hold. So we thought we should solve this problem. And so we have an all-new WebEx AI agent that we announced at WebEx One. What is a WebEx AI agent? We want to make sure that you have no hold times, and every single time you call, the virtual AI agent sounds just like a human being and can be interrupted, that you can throw a curveball to them, you can ask it and you can change your mind and ask for something different. It'll understand the tone and emotion that you have, and it'll be able to answer your questions 80 to 90% of the times. And for the 10% of the times that you can't answer the question, it'll know exactly who to transfer that call to so that they can answer your question. It's completely magical. And by the way, if you think this is hard to go configure, what we've done is not only provided this WebEx AI agent, but we've also provided a WebEx AI agent studio that can help you design these agents for certain use cases so that you can specialize it for your environment, for your call center. And rather than me talk about it, what I thought I'd do is I'd have Caitlin Lacey come up and actually give us a demo. So Caitlin, come on up. How are you, Caitlin?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about all the stuff that you folks have built. So why don't you show us a demo?
Love it. So, as you mentioned, we spend so much time waiting on hold. But what if you could easily create an AI agent that could support your customers' needs? So this is our AI agent studio. And what you have here is a very simple interface, very straightforward. And you'll also notice that we have pre-built templates here that you can automatically create an AI agent with.
These are kind of inquiries that you get on a regular basis that you wanted to train the agent with the best responses that might have been there.
Exactly,
Yep.
yes. But if you want something a little bit more complex, you're going to go ahead and you can start from scratch and customize your own agent. And so here's where you're going to be able to talk to a scripted or an autonomous agent. And the scripted are the canned responses, those very structured conversations, and the autonomous agent is going to use that generative AI to be dynamically responding to your customers, very conversationally. And so we're going to do an autonomous agent today, and our agents can answer questions and perform actions. And when you get to the profile, you can kind of tell your agent exactly what you want it to do, give it instructions, give it parameters, and also be able to have it take actions like agent handover and identify and verify user. And so for this particular instance, we're using a financial institution, and we're going to go over here and actually test out how our agent is going to support our customers' needs. And you can do this in either a voice channel or in a chat channel, but to save everybody's ears, we're going to just do a chat today. So what you're going to see here is I'm going to be able to, tell this agent that I have seen a suspicious activity on my credit card and I need some help to report it. No problem, they're here to help me, and they're going to verify who I am with my date of birth and my zip code. But sometimes you need to make sure that a customer is not going to go off on a different tangent, right? It's those guardrails we were talking about earlier. And so what's going to happen here is, there we go. The agent is going to be able to take a second and say, I know that I'm not actually supposed to be transferring $5,000 into your account, just for the issue at hand, right?
Yep.
So they're going to redirect the conversation back to the task that they were asked to do in the first place when they were told to verify and identify the user.
And this is something that you can do, like you said, in text or in voice form.
Exactly.
And in voice, it's not going to sound like a robot. It's going to sound like a real human.
Yes.
And the latency is going to be low, and you'll be able to switch, you'll be able to interrupt and do all of those amazing things.
Exactly. And you can see that in this interface, it is super simple, it is straightforward and intuitive, and in a matter of minutes, someone without a professional programming background like myself was able to create an AI agent that can support customers at scale.
Caitlin, I'm excited for getting that month back from my life, for half my life that's remaining.
Exactly.
Thank you, Caitlin. Take care. Give it up for Caitlin. All right, so the next person I want to bring up is the individual that actually runs our entire workplace business, that Caitlin's in his organization, and he's our Senior Vice President for Future-Proof Workplaces, Anurag Dhingra. Anurag, come on up, my friend. So for those of you that don't know Anurag, he was the CTO of WebEx for a long time and did a lot of innovation in AI over there before ChatGPT was anywhere around.
We had an early start on
that. We had an early start. So tell us, what are you most excited about right now?
Yeah, so what I'm really excited about is to work with our customers and help them future-proof their infrastructure in their workplaces. You were talking about the age of AI, the DeepSeek effect, and the operator effect. When you think about it, it's not just affecting the data center. It's actually going to affect every workplace.
Yep.
Every application is going to be an AI-first application. And we're starting to see robots and humanoids in the workplace. This is happening in factory floors today, but it's going to be happening in an office near you.
Yep.
And so how do you get ready for that? And the wireless access points that you were just talking about, that make me really excited. With these 2 new access points, we are now completing a full line of Wi-Fi 7 access points. And when you think about AI and robotics, you have to imagine a network that is high throughput, low latency, really stable with multi-link operations, because all of these applications are going to need that.
Yeah.
With these Wi-Fi 7 access points, we can finally deliver that to our customers.
Well, most people don't realize in this one that as your data demands increase and your compute increases, like the thing that keeps all of that humming is the network behind the scenes. And if you don't have that, then nothing else works.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine an operator-like application that is running in your office that is trying to control your Roomba, or actually a supercharged version of that.
Yep.
You're not going to go through the cloud for that. You're going to actually keep that local to your campus network.
Right.
And you need a very powerful Wi-Fi network, and then switches that back that up with power over Ethernet and all the capabilities that you need for an AI-first world.
Now, talk a little bit about this platform effect that we've talked about of creating compounding value across the entire Cisco portfolio, because you're going to need to have networking, you're going to need to have collaboration, you're going to need to have security all tied together. There's going to be some observability with Thousand Eyes. Yeah. Talk to us about how you're thinking about pulling all these pieces together, and what have we already delivered?
Yeah. So I think one asset or one advantage that we have is we have these amazing industry-leading applications across all of these categories. You know, of course, we are a networking company, but we are also a security company, an observability company, and a collaboration company. So bringing all of this together in a platform helps us or lets us do things that would otherwise just not be possible. So as an example, we can deliver end-to-end assurance across owned and unowned infrastructure by combining Thousand Eyes with assurance that's built into our products. And Thousand Eyes is now embedded across our portfolio, including the collaboration devices. Yep. So it's in our phones, it's in our video conferencing systems, it's obviously included in all of our routers and switches, and that's the platform effect, because now you can stitch together data and insights across your full deployment, across your full infrastructure, and deliver amazing capabilities.
And this was one of your original visions we had when we were starting to craft this notion of the AI assistant, where it wasn't just that every single thing will have a consistent UI to do AI, but what we'll essentially have is the way in which you set policy, the way in which you troubleshoot will now have more data sets you can correlate with.
Right.
Right? And then once you have that correlation, it can allow us to do things we could never do before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You were talking about the unified AI assistant. So what we've done in collaboration with DJ and other groups at Cisco is we have a single unified interface for you to interact with the system, but then we have skills for each of the domains. So we have a networking skill, you were talking about it, we have a security skill, we have a Thousand Eyes skills, we have a control hub skill for collaboration, and now you can start to do things that go across these domains, and you can get insights that are really end-to-end.
And it innovates faster as well, because every single time someone has to build an AI assistant, they don't have to rebuild the interface, they just have to add a skill to the AI assistant.
Absolutely, and the platform lets you build these things very, very fast.
So, I'm going to have much higher demands of you on moving much faster, because we have now started to make sure that this platform has come to full fruition. Anurag, what is the one ask you would have of the audience over here?
Yeah, so I would say that you should start really leaning into this AI, the era of AI, and get your infrastructure ready for this, because this is coming. Every application is going to be an AI-ready application. So Wi-Fi 7, new switches, everything that comes together to deliver an amazing network, a secure network. Right. Just lean in, help partner with us, and really future-proof your workplaces.
We are an innovation company at our core. Thank you so much for doing all the work that you're doing, my friend. Take care. Anurag Dhingra, folks. Now, as we talk about a future-proofed workplace, one of the really important dimensions that we need to talk about is how do you secure that workplace? And when we think about securing the workplace, a very important concept and architecture that has to be kept in mind is this notion of zero trust. And zero trust has to be with zero friction, because if you don't have zero friction with zero trust, then it just gets to be very, very hard to go out and implement, and it gets in the way of how people do their jobs. So what do we mean by zero trust? Zero trust basically says least privileged access, which means that only give people access to the things that they need to have to get the job done, but no more. Right? And this is this big shift that we've had in the security domain for a while, but the reality is this, is traditional zero trust network access, or what's called ZTNA, is simply not sufficient. And let me walk you through the way that traditional ZTNA works. You've essentially got people, and you've got managed devices that you're somehow looking to make sure get connected to sanctioned applications. And that's what you've gone out and dealt with traditional ZTNA. But how is this market evolving, and how is it changing? Well, you don't just have managed devices, you might also have unmanaged devices from which people want to go out and log in. And you might also have IoT devices, things that want to log into the network. Your printer needs to log into the network. Your printer needs to make sure that it communicates to the IT administrator that there is a paper jam or that it's out of ink. What specifically needs to happen? That should not allow you to have full rights given to the printer to be able to get into your customer database, because that's a vulnerability. So how do you make sure that zero trust happens with that? And that means that you have to leverage ICE segmentation tags right in there. That's the benefit of the platform. When you actually have a platform like Cisco's, you can now start to benefit. Whatever is connecting to the network, you know exactly what that should be connected to, and only to that thing and nothing beyond that thing. And if you do that right, magic starts happening over there. And so, to talk a little bit more about this, rather than us just talking about it, what I thought we'd do is we'd invite up a customer, British Telecom, local over here, who's actually gone out and fundamentally reimagined their workplace with security and with all the other kind of networking capabilities that we have. So I have the pleasure of having Colin, who is the CTO of BT Business Services, to come on up over here so he can talk to us a little bit about what's going on. He's one of the most visionary customers that I've had the pleasure of working with. So come on up, Colin. How are you, sir?
How are you?
So tell me what's going on at BT and what are you folks doing to reimagine the workplace?
Sure. First of all, 30-year relationship with the BT and yourselves.
We're very grateful. Thank you for that.
Happy birthday. We stand on the back of giants, the engineers who are in this room, and it's great to be with you. A couple of things about BT in terms of numbers for introduction first. We have about 200 million devices connected to the network every day. We do something like 100 petabytes of data in the network all year. But those numbers aren't the important ones. The ones that are important is things like we take 41 million calls to the emergency services, the people in our offices every day. And that's a big responsibility.
Number. Yeah.
And of course, having 100,000 engineers when we're reimagining the
Do you ever sleep at night, or are you just kind of...
Yeah, that's one of the things that keep me up. It's a great responsibility. I mean, Oliver talked about earlier about digital resilience is business resilience. I know that to be an absolute fact.
Yep.
There is no plan B without the network. It is so important.
Yep.
So thinking about this, one of the challenges we had recently, just after COVID, we wanted to get our employees back into the office. And we wanted to have, sort of reimagine our offices, and we called it Better Workplace. Mm-hmm. And it was the network was part of the attraction to bring back really, really great experiences. So we have, we have offices in, we serve customers in 180 countries around the world, but with my enterprise hat on, we had 800 offices that we wanted to close down, and we wanted to have 70 brand new offices that would really have great experience for them. Mm-hmm. So we brought them in. It's been fantastic in terms of the impact, and really exciting about...
What's new about these offices? What did you do?
Well, things like Cisco Spaces. I absolutely love Cisco Spaces. We're able to do real-time restacking on each of our floors. We're able to get great insight in terms of, is this floor the right thing for our customers and our employees? Is it somewhere that we can be proud of? Are the meeting rooms big enough?
Right.
So we're able to redesign things real-time, get incredible insight. And some of the things that we were understanding about was like the combining of networks, compute, and security. We wanted to have that. So we did persona-based design. So we had individual personas for apps, things, and people in the buildings so that we can serve it with really fine-grained control in new ways, but with really, really important resilience that we should have had all along so that we can serve our customers brilliantly.
Tom Gillis has this kind of saying, which I love, which is, hey, we believe printers are people too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it makes it easier to serve. It lowers the cost. It allows brilliant outcomes for ourselves and the way we serve our customers. And of course, this is not just for me sort of serving our internal customers. This is us drinking our own champagne.
Right.
We want our buildings to be somewhere proud we can bring our customers into. And we learn and we iterate and we build. And this infrastructure, we're powering the national critical infrastructure. And we needed a partner that was the critical infrastructure that powered that. That's Cisco.
Yeah, and that's such an honor to be powering critical infrastructure for the National Critical Infrastructure Company.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Oh, goodness. Look, there's a lot of really, really interesting things, and you talked a lot about it today. One is we are reimagining our global network, which we call Global Fabric, powered by Cisco, and that's using 76% less electricity, and it's an incredible piece of project. But in terms of in the networks for our own use, in the workplace, obviously, things like shadow AI is a huge, huge thing. Talking to our customer CIOs, really, really interesting. Half of them are worried about BYOD, whether or not they're allowed to even do it anymore.
Right.
So it's really, really scary for CIOs right now, the ones that I talk to, and having the controls in the network is going to be super important. And the other thing that's really interesting is, I guess I'd call it dark compute. You know, there's a huge amount of latent compute that our customers have in the networks, in the PCs that are in the network.
So when you have idle capacity in the PCs, you want to use that capacity so you can do processing in this compute-constrained world that we live in.
Absolutely. So AI has sort of escaped into the network. And in a way, you could argue that the network is now the computer.
That's right.
And we need the fine-grained controls with everything coming together to be able to control that and make it safe at the same time and performant. You know, the other thing that keeps me up at night is, you know, AI-ready networks. Everybody talks about the AI, but only here we've been talking about what are the implications of the AI flows, elephant flows, jitter, all the implications, latency, all these things that is going to be really important when these flows start to hit. And if you have 200,000 PCs starting to have little cloned versions of AI models doing training or doing tokens, what's going to happen to the network? We need to be ready.
Colin, we're looking forward to the next 30 years with you, my friend.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
Cheers. All right, next I want to talk about a really important area, which is this notion of secure global connectivity. And when you think about secure global connectivity, service providers are the fundamental backbone of global connectivity. We've actually had the pleasure of being along with them for the most part of our 40-year journey. And if you start thinking about what we've been every step along the way with the service providers is in every major transition that they've had. So whether it started from voice, then went to data, then to video, and now we're moving to AI, we've been with them all along the way. And if you start thinking about what is happening with AI, it's fundamentally transforming connectivity that the service providers are going to enable for every class of company that might be out there. And we're making sure that we can actually innovate on their behalf so that they can really start thinking about this in a fundamentally different way. So if you start to think about the key innovations, it's around routing infrastructure, it's around IP and optical convergence, and it's around automation and assurance. These three areas, there's a tremendous amount of innovation going on with service providers. So what is actually happening over here and what's really noteworthy and what looks like complete magic? Well, firstly, if you start thinking about it, AI will be a massive monetization tailwind for the service providers. And what I mean by that is there's two major trends that are going to be really, really important to keep in mind. The first one is this notion of a hyper-distributed architecture, which means that you're going to have a lot of models running everywhere, right? And then the second one is agentic, which means that you're going to have multiple agents across multiple data centers that are going to want to talk to each other. So multiple models, multiple agents through this notion of a hyper-distributed agentic architecture. And if you start thinking about what we want to do is we want to announce to the market that we will have a Cisco Agile Services Network. And essentially what that'll do is provide a level of simplicity and performance, but it's also going to provide a level of security. So we will have, for example, quantum safe MACsec embedded into this kind of blueprint. And we'll have the ability for monetization that can be delivered to the service providers. So service providers can take all the investment they've made and be able to monetize these investments in very kind of constructive ways. Because we not only want to provide them the technology, we want to help our service providers think about how they can make money from these technologies for their customers, whether they be hyperscalers or emerging cloud providers. Now, what are the big announcements we're making that we're really excited about? Essentially, we've got two big announcements, but one of them is we're announcing routing infrastructure with Cisco 8000 switches. This is basically distributed edge switches as well as converged access points, right? And so converged access switches. And if you start to think about it, they're all built on the Silicon One architecture, which means that the management of these switches is going to get to be a whole lot easier than what it has been in the past. And so Silicon One-based routing, new access and edge platforms, and we'll have it be completely optimized for AI. And so this is an area that's going to be meaningfully transformative. Just make sure that you continue to look at Cisco for helping you, and we want to continue to keep partnering with the service providers on an ongoing basis because they are the backbone for secure connectivity, and we want to make sure that we continue to keep enabling them. But if you think this is cool, one of the things that's extremely mind-bendingly amazing is this notion of coherent pluggable optics, right? And optical signals being able to go out and communicate over long distances. And so we have a couple major announcements in our coherent pluggable optics. The first one is around a 400 gig, pluggable optic, and the second one is around increasing our speed to 800 gig pluggable optic. So what does this actually mean? We've already had 400 gig optics that can actually transmit up to 1,000 kilometers. What we're doing now is we're making sure that we can increase this for ultra long haul so that you can now expand that to up to 3,000 kilometers. And what that has as an implication is you can now start to have optical signals go out and connect and do data center interconnect across a very, very long distance, right? And then the second thing we're doing is we have 800 gig optics that are going to be for up to 1,000 kilometers. Now, by the way, the amazing part of this is you start collapsing the stack, you make it easier to manage, you have lower power efficiency, and all of this actually fits into your pocket. This is what an optical, coherent pluggable optic looks like, right? And so to talk a little bit more about that, we actually talked to Swisscom, which is a customer and a service provider, to see what they've done. So let's roll video there.
Our mission is to provide really the best sustainable network. Swisscom is the most sustainable telco in the world. That's our motivation, that's our mission. Our partnership with Cisco plays a key role, providing innovative solutions, supporting us in addressing the future demand from our customers. Our convergence journey started when we realized that the complexity is too high, so customers were affected directly. So the main goals were to reduce the complexity and also to reduce the cost by 40% and then reduce the power consumption by 50%. This conversion has positioned Swisscom to become more future-ready by streamlining the network into a unified network architecture on one hand, and Cisco played a major role through agile services networking. This allows us to distribute edge functionality, converge network and service layers, and connect AI data centers to each other and endpoints, ultimately simplifying operations through AI. These features provided by the 8000 series based on Silicon One allow us to reduce the power consumption, optimize our cost structure, implementing much more efficient services, and Cisco contributed quite a lot by defining this path.
Now, silicon is actually a big part of this. And so it just turns out, as luck would have it, completely randomly, we just found that our head of silicon is actually sitting in the audience. So we said, hey, why not have him come? No, that's not true. We actually completely prepared this. But Martin Lund, who is the head of Silicon One for Cisco and head of all of Silicon, is here. So let's make sure that we welcome him on stage.
Hey, good, you too.
How are you, my friend?
Doing well.
So tell us, why is it important for us to be in the silicon business?
Well, the fact, and some of the people here probably know, silicon has been part and parcel to Cisco for about 3 decades. We've built ASICs for as long as we've built routers and switches, roughly. But what is different now, and what we're doing with Silicon One, is that we're taking it and we're building a unified architecture that scales from the edge to the core. And we're doing that with custom silicon. And why do we do that? Because if you want to lead, you have to control the tools of innovation. And while software is a great accelerant, a great thing to innovate with, hardware defines the limits for software to innovate on.
Yes.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take it to the next level.
And what is unique about what we do compared to what others do?
Well, we've taken our 3 decades of experiences and we put it into one unified architecture. This unified architecture scales from gigabit to petabit. It does routing and switching in one architecture. And it's multiple families, we'll talk about that, but it is really truly a foundation for innovation, but also for driving simplicity and reducing complexity and not having multiple architectures that operate weirdly and differently. That's number one. Core to our innovation is also a programmable engine that's inside it. So we can malleable change the behavior of our forwarding machines. This is really important when you deal with new things in AI. What's going to happen with protocols, new protocols? Do you have to forklift upgrade your network every time a new innovation comes in? And at the space and the speed of this is happening right now, programmability is key. And finally, what we have in all of our devices is the observability engine built in. So we can do at micro level scalability or measurements of latency, of packet loss, and feed the network management systems, and over time it will be AI managed, I'm sure, to ensure failovers at a micro level speed.
So this programmability thing is really interesting because what you're essentially doing is changing it in software rather than having to re-etch the silicon, and that's completely game-changing. You know, for those of you that don't know Martin, he actually invented layer 3 switching. This is a legend in the industry. Martin, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go next to the last area, which is digital resilience. And when you think about digital resilience, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, when something goes wrong, how do you know what went wrong? Is it a network outage? Is it a security breach? It was an application overage? It was an API overage? Was it a bug in the application? And essentially, you have to make sure that you correlate the data and get to that detection as fast as possible so you can compress your investigation time and then get to the response and remediation as quickly as you can. And the problem with digital resilience is it is fundamentally a data problem. And if you think about the 3 core technologies that have to work hand in hand together on top of a data platform, they're assurance on the network, their observability for the entire estate, and then there's security. And so if you think about the assurance on the network, which essentially is monitoring and the visibility, but also what are you going to do to action on it? Like Anurag talked about earlier, one of the key things with Thousand Eyes is we're able to go out and monitor and take action on not just unowned infrastructure, but also owned infrastructure, both owned and unowned. And it's extremely important to do this in a way that's easy to use and easy to go out and manage, right? And so we're announcing today Thousand Eyes Traffic Insights. And Thousand Eyes Traffic Insights essentially provides deep visibility into the network for owned infrastructure that you might have, and then also instantly pinpoints disruptions that you might have. And then in addition to that, we're going to be able to accelerate any kind of remediation and automation that needs to be done so that the problem can be solved. Don't just find out what the problem is, but also solve that problem, right? And this is going to be available in March. So the team's worked really, really hard to make this happen. I'm super excited about, Thousand Eyes Traffic Insights. So give them a big round of applause. But in addition to assurance, what we also need to make sure that we look at is not just the network insights or what's happening with owned and unowned infrastructure, but what's happening from the standpoint of observability for the entire enterprise. And the way that one of the most valuable companies that we've purchased is Splunk, not just because of the amount of money we paid, but also because there's a tremendous amount of data over here that we can leverage in some very meaningful ways. So when you start thinking about end-to-end observability, what you essentially have is a Splunk data platform, and on top of that data platform, you're able to look at the entire estate, not just the network, right? So App Dynamics allows you to look at your traditional applications. Observability Cloud allows you to look at your modern applications you might have. And you have one common management plane on top of that, which is called IT Service Intelligence, that allows you to make sure that you can manage that entire estate for observing what's going on within your environment. And just like in every other area that you've heard, we're now adding AI Assistant in Splunk Observability Cloud. That's going to be, that's available now. So now you're able to have classic prompt interfaces with AI go out and manage your entire observability estate. So essentially, what Cisco is doing is fundamentally reimagining the way that you will actually have data to see what's happening in the estate. But what it's also doing is reimagining security operations itself. So we talked about observability, which is built on the same platform, as we talk about the security stuff that's also built on the same data platform. But one of the key areas that we've also innovated quite a bit in is XDR. And so extended detection and response was an area that we had announced as a product a year ago. Massive amount of uptick in the course of the past year. And what we're doing is integrating that into our full platform. So what we're announcing today is an integration of Cisco Meraki with XDR. What does that mean? Right? There you go. Thank you. Cisco Meraki with XDR, what that means is that you will be able to make sure that you take the networking telemetry and feed it into XDR, and you can then take the incidents that are in XDR and have them show up in the Meraki dashboard. And so there's a bi-directional kind of integration that's there, and then as your organization gets more sophisticated and wants more, has more of a kind of footprint on the SOC, and you want to have more sophistication in that area, what we are also able to do is power the SOC of the future. And then you can actually make sure that you also start using Splunk. And so we've got this common data platform, on top of which we've got a SIM, we've got the orchestration and response with SOAR, and it's essentially powering the entire SOC of the future. Now, what specifically are we continuing to do over here is we're making sure that we can continue to make it easier for people to manage your entire SOC operation as well. So just like in every other area, it would make a lot of sense to have an AI assistant that allows you to manage enterprise security with Splunk, which is available now in private preview, right? And so what you're starting to see is this entire platform is coming together and getting woven in. And the last individual that I wanted to have come up on stage to talk about it is Kamal Hathi, who actually runs the data platform within Splunk. So let's give Kamal a big round of applause. How are you, Kamal?
All right, I'm great.
So tell me what you're excited about over here. What's going on?
First of all, thank you for having me. Really excited, honored to be here.
Welcome to Cisco. You recently joined us.
Yes, I just joined you.
Yeah.
And before I go, I got to quote my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Really, you had me
at resilience.
Resilience, absolutely. So what I'm excited about is this combination of Cisco and Splunk. Now, Cisco, as we just talked about, it powers the world's networks. It's the foundation on which AI is made possible. And Splunk has the largest possible scale of data, managing it, correlating it, enabling observability, enabling security. Together, what we can do is what no one else can do, which is detect incidents such as lateral movement or outages well before they happen. Mm-hmm. And that is just absolutely a game changer, and only Cisco and Splunk together can make that.
The way I think about this, and you have to assume the attacker is in the system, and the name of the game is to prevent lateral movement.
Exactly.
Where does lateral movement happen? On the network.
On the network.
And we can make sure that we can actually tie those together. So
exactly right.
This has a lot of kind of supercharging that you're doing of security as well as observability by integrating into different Cisco assets.
That's right.
But tell me a little bit about, you want to do a little bit of a demo, so I'm going to actually allow you to do that.
All right, so let's go jump to the demo directly. So the background here is the following. I am playing the role of a IT analyst or a application developer, and I'm in a retail company. So I've got cloud, native web apps. I've got on-premises backends for e-commerce, and I started to notice suddenly alerts like firing off because my payment system is in trouble, and that's a big deal. It's the core, it's the heart of my real application. So what do? I jump into Splunk's IT Service Intelligence, ITSI, and in this I can see the service analyzer, and we talk about the notion of resilience being a data problem. We can visualize the entire estate, the data of what's happening with on-premises in the cloud, and with thousand eyes networks owned and unowned. Now, because I'm a application guy, I'm a developer, my first reaction is, it's got to be the network. It's the network. And sure enough, I go in and I jump into...
It's always the network, yeah.
Always the network. And thousand eyes, I can see actually there's something going on, web checks are failing, and I say, okay, something's going on here. Let me go look at the KPIs that define it. Look at my KPIs, I drill in, I can start seeing latency, maybe loss, go directly to thousand eyes, right there, without moving around tabs or anything, and I can see it's not the network. That's pretty good, actually.
Right.
So I got to do my job now and figure out what's going on.
What's going on, yeah.
So I go back in ITSI and start looking at my checkout cart. It's a native cloud service, and this one is monitored by Splunk Observability Cloud. Again, look at my KPIs, go in, and I can go right into these troubleshooting and look at my service map, and here I can see in red, right there.
Go to payment
that's
service
the payment
problem.
service, and that's a back end on my traditional apps. I go in again and start looking for it, and I can see that there is an actual path that I need to go follow down. And again, I look at my KPIs, and because this one happens to be a more traditional end-tier on-premise app, I go and look at App Dynamics. And right in App Dynamics, I can see right there, the red pieces there.
There you go.
The database is at fault, and not the network.
It's not the network this one time.
Well, usually it's not.
Yeah.
We have a very secure network. We do a good job at it, yeah.
All right, so you have one other important announcement to make. Let's make sure that we get to that.
Right, absolutely. One more thing, as I say, is welcome to SnapAttack. SnapAttack is a company we just recently acquired. It enables detection as code. And so we welcome the SnapAttack team to Cisco. Looking forward to adding value to all of our customers here. So,
Kamal, thank you again.
Thank you so much, you too. My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Give it up for Kamal. All right, so to conclude, I know that this was a rapid-fire round of all the different innovations that we could actually compress for you within the short and sweet 80 minutes. But what we wanted to do was get back to, you should assume that we're going to build products you love. You should assume that they're going to be great quality. And you should assume that we're going to continue to be very asymmetric in the way that we build them. And if we do this right, we will continue to make sure that we can help you make this transition. Now, I want to hand it over to someone who's, I don't think he's here. I don't know where Oliver went. Oliver, I don't see you here. Where are you, my friend?
I'm here, G2. I hope you can hear and see me. I'm already in the world of solution.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was watching your closing. Just let me start with this. This was amazing. That was the best I've ever seen. The power of innovation that you and the team presented are just mind-blowing. And I know we are ready for the future. And for all of you, our customers and partners, if you want to see the innovations in real life, just come to the world of solution. It is happening right here. The experts are here to talk you through and tell you how you can utilize the power of the platform. And if you rather would prefer to go back 40 years and enjoy the Cisco journey, right there, there's an exhibition showing you all the wonderful things of the last 40 years. With this, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being long-term partners of Cisco. And thanks for being together with us for the future, where we are going beyond. But wait, one last thing. I have a little surprise because it's our birthday, and 40 of you will find below your seat a little ticket to get one of these amazing Bang & Olufsen Cisco earbuds. Another great example how we partner and innovate in the collaboration area. And with this, enjoy Cisco Live. Thanks for being with us.
Oh,
Oh my goodness, how much do I love that, to see Oliver out and walking around the world of solutions as a way to bring an end to that fantastic opening keynote. Bravo, Oliver and team, and all 40 of the people here at the conference who were able to look under their seats and get a great Bang & Olufsen set of earbuds. That is fantastic. Great to have you back with us here in the TV studio in the middle of the world of solutions at the RAI Amsterdam. I'm Steve Moulter. Oliver's, he's got to be like right out there somewhere. We can't quite see him back where he is behind us here, behind these flags. But back here with Cedric DeVolter, Rob Boyd, Alpa Tankaria, we have just wrapped a terrific opening keynote. Oliver, G2, Martin Honorog, just so much great information, welcoming customers and partners and designers, developers, directors, major announcements here in that keynote, all of the reasons why this event, Cisco Live 2025 Amsterdam, all Cisco Lives, so compelling for everyone.